I know you guys have been waiting on this. Let me tell you a little bit of story as to why you're getting this a little bit later, like about 2 weeks after the album was released. So we got a new setup, right? I've been figuring this setup out and everything because I'm not that tech girl. In the process of me figuring this setup out, something happened where I recorded my reaction videos to Fauzia's album, right? I went back to edit the videos and there was no sound. There was no sound. When I tell y'all I almost crashed out, words cannot describe how angry, annoyed, irritated I felt when I discovered that there was no sound. I was ready to fight somebody, but the person I would have to fight was me, right? Yeah, that was my fault, right? This happened before where there was no sound, but the sound was missing from the video I reacted to. So I could have easily fixed that, going to YouTube, downloading the sound, adding it onto my editing platform, chopping it down and aligning it, right? Which I did. It took a little bit longer for me to edit the videos, cool. But in this one, honey, there was no sound to my voice. I was talking to a mic that was muted. Yeah. So imagine how you would feel if you found that out. I was ready to just not react to this at all. So this is why you guys are getting an album review as opposed to an album reaction. It took a little bit longer to edit. It took a lot of patience on my part. So please watch from the very beginning to the end because this took a lot of my time. Thank you. But overall, y'all, listening to this album, oh my God. Oh my God. That's literally what I kept saying all throughout. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. Oh my, like, no skips, y'all. So let's get into my review. First off, this album is for the lover girls. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it because this album was definitely, from the start to the very end, the story about love and all the emotions that you experienced. We start off with the first song, Lost My Mind and Paris. A slow jazz vibe, which I absolutely love. Jazz is known for being very sensual, very sexual, and all those good vibes that are pretty much associated with love. I thought that was really on point for the whole Paris theme, right? It is the place that represents love in the best way possible. But at the same time, you can hear sirens from police. And you're just like, what exactly is happening? Because that's what was going through my mind at the time. I was like, why am I hearing sirens? What's going on? And then the song starts. We have a man that's being all lovey-dovey, being a gentleman and doing all the good things. This completely switches. This man led her to her losing her mind in Paris. And that is why they put the sirens from the police cars. That was a little preview as to what was going to happen in the song. Like, she was real life on some shit. This man just did me dirty and now I'm just acting out. This whole song was just showing how love can affect us so much to the point that we can do things that are out of our control just because of all the emotions that we feel. It was a completely different vibe than what I'm used to from Faouzia, honestly, but I wasn't mad at it at all. This song made me want so much more from the album. I was like, yes, girl, you did that. The vibes were on point, the beat was on point, the vocals were on point. Nothing made me hate this song at all other than the fact that this man really did her dirty. I want a music video for this so bad because I want to see how they put that together to tell the theme of the whole album in the song too. And this leads us to the next song, Peace and Violence. A completely different vibe from the first song. This beat is a little chirpy, a little happy, and you can hear bird song in the background. She's talking about peace and violence, right? Which are the complete opposite. She's talking about being Bonnie and Clyde, which, you know, is not the best representation of love, honey, because them people was crazy. All throughout this song, she's talking about all the things that she want to do for this man.
I'll fight for your honor, baby. For you, it's not a war.
I'm gonna stand by my man. We love that, but to a certain extent, because you want to be this man's peace, hence why the title is Peace, but you're also saying that you're gonna be violent towards anybody else who plays with him. This is kind of like showing all of the emotions you can feel for a man within a relationship. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense for you to want to be his peace, but also causing all types of reckless things to the rest of the world. She even talks about starting a war for him to show the extent of the love that she has for this person.
Watch the world burn down to see you in the light of
And that, if not toxic, I don't know what is. This is literally a psychotic way of telling somebody that you love them, because you're really going to sit there and watch the whole world burn down just to get a glimpse of this man. Excuse me. This is poetic, but it's also very scary, almost unbelievable that you would do something like that for a man. And honestly, it just all doesn't make sense, which leads us to the next song, Unethical. Absolutely amazing following the second song, because all of the love and everything that she was talking about in that second song was literally unethical. It was unimaginable that you would do all of these things for this man. So then in Unethical, we have a song that's kind of chill, kind of mellow. She's basically exploring her thoughts about this man that she loves so much. The intro to that song has such a beautiful beat to draw you in, to make you have that feeling of reflection. This little lyric that says vertigo in your arms was really on point to show how unstable she felt or feels with that man. Because if you know what vertigo is, it's basically you spinning and moving and just not feeling stable at all. A very poetic way of her expressing how she feels unsafe with this man who's basically playing back and forth with her. From him saying that he hates her and then changing his mind, and watching her break down from all of the things that he's doing to her, but then calling it paradise.
Take off my skin just to let you in. On my knees, have you any mercy?
All of this are just there to show how cruel and heartless this man is to the person who loves him so much, to be essentially watching her break herself apart just so she can be around him, just so she can give all she can give to him to get nothing in return. And if you pay attention to the music video that came out for this song, she has so many different outfit changes. A white dress representing the purity of the love from the very beginning, where you're happy, you're not tinted whatsoever, and you're just developing your relationship with the person, right? Then she's staring in the mirror and kind of like reflecting, and you can see that she changed into the red dress. This coincidentally happens when the beat is intensifying for the song. I thought this was to show a lot of passion and how much this love has grown. Towards the end, you can see how she changed into a black dress. That's when she's talking about letting the person go. The great representation of the grief we feel as we're letting somebody go in a relationship, especially when it is as intense as what she's talking about all throughout these different songs. Again, amazing. But another thing I noticed within the music video is how she was wearing a white dress and then her heart started bleeding, represented how her heart is essentially being ripped out of her chest. The start of her being tainted after that initial phase where you're all lovey-dovey and now you're seeing the person for who they really are. One thing that I know I didn't notice originally was that at the end of the aisle that she was walking on was a coffin representing the death of this relationship. Overall, I felt like this song was a point in time where she was reflecting and thinking about how unethical it has been for her to be in this relationship where she's giving and willing to do all of these things and basically getting nothing in return but heartbreak and pain. And right after that, we have the next song, which is Tous ces mots. This is in French, which translates to all these words. I was so surprised to hear her sing in French, y'all. I didn't know that she spoke French, to the point where she was singing and you would just be like captivated by it. It was insane. I absolutely love this one where it was kind of like an interlude to separate the first part of the album from the second. The fact that she was using the love language,
Tous ces mots pour rien. Tous ces mots en vain.
I thought that was really well done. Her vocals in here with the French was just perfect. That's how I felt about this song, which is leading us to the fifth one called Sweet Fever. This is when I feel like the album switches a little bit and gives us more upbeat vibes. The title of this was so cute. Sweet Fever is so contradicting. If you have a fever, you don't feel sweet, you don't feel happy, you don't feel none of that because you're over here trying to break away from that fever and feel normal again. I feel like it was to represent the sensation she was feeling in her body and the intensity of all of her emotions from this love. Basically, kind of like a fever because they're usually very intense. Your temperature is very much up there, you're sweating, you don't know what to do, kind of like losing her mind. And that's like what comes with dancing. You're losing yourself within the beat and you're just vibing out, right? She's even talking about feeling it in her pulse, kind of like how you would feel a fever within the pulse of your body. And all of these things would make you want to get up and move your body and let loose after you experience some heartbreak. I love the fact that the ladies are getting out of their head about a breakup. They're not boohoo crying about it. They may take the moment to do that, but they're not dwelling in that. They're moving on from that moment, using music to get away from all of that negative energy and just getting out of their body, dancing, vibing out, trying to find that love and connection within themselves, then seeking it out from somebody who wasn't giving it to them in the first place.
Sweet fever, set me free.
Like I said, I think this was her wanting to let loose and get lost within the beat. So she's trying to embrace this new feeling and she's trying her best to just let her thoughts run wild, let her body loose and enjoy her moment. Then we have the next song, which is Don't Ever Leave Me. Super upbeat. One of the lyrics that stood out to me is,
I am not my emotions, no, they're a point in time.
this is super important to keep in mind as women or just people in general because a lot of times we're being blamed for feeling some type of way and having specific thoughts and essentially letting other people's actions or ideas affect how we act. But something great that I've learned over the years is that you can learn new information, learn new things about your own self to not only change the way you act, but the way that you perceive other people and even yourself. So her saying that really touched my heart because when I was a little bit younger, honestly, I used to really go crazy about my emotions. And it's really cool to see how I've progressed over the years to learn not to let my emotions affect me as much as they used to back then. She repeats the same lines over and over again. While listening to this for the first time and watching the music video, I originally thought that she was talking about a man, but now I'm thinking that she's talking about herself. Simply based on how the album is progressing, these lyrics within the song are kind of like affirmations for her. For instance,
Say it slowly, say it slowly.
I felt like this was basically her encouraging herself to repeat these over and over again until she accepts them for what they are. Just like you would with affirmations, you may have to say them a little bit slower so that you can really resonate with the affirmation that you're telling yourself. There's another point in the song where she says,
See myself so clearly. Barely breathing, I'm alive.
another point where I feel like she's encouraging and reminding herself that even though she went through all of these emotions and all of the pain that led to her barely breathing and barely being alive, she is still alive. So she wants to stay by her own side and protect herself, which she didn't really do before because she was willing to do it for that man as opposed to herself. Now she's realizing she can do it for herself. We love that. Overall, a self-discovery type of song where she previously sat and really thought about the relationship. She's accepting it for what it is so she can move on and love herself properly. This leads to the next song, which is Desert Rose. This is such a beautiful song. All of them are beautiful, honestly, but this one has such a beautiful piano beat that just eats my soul. One thing I wasn't ready for was her using what I think is her native language.
When a horse and a lion horse.
let me know what that is, because I did not want to look it up, because some terms don't have direct meanings. So the native speakers would have to translate those and make you know what exactly they mean. In the previous song, she was in a journey of self-discovery. Now you can see how she's doing that within her native language. I thought it was absolutely well inputted in there to represent this self-discovery, because what better way for you to represent self-discovery than to speak your native language and to sing it on top of that, and for you to sound even more beautiful. This song has so many metaphors and similes that I was just like, oh, over and over and over again.
Dream of rain, yeah, I wake in vain, yeah.
This was representing the drought that she was in, how much she was craving some type of rain. Obviously, she's talking about love. She's looking for some type of love to grow within the desert, which makes no sense for a rose to grow in the desert. That's not possible, but she still wants that to happen. She wants it so bad to the point where she's talking about waking up in vain, and no sweet perfume has ever tortured her as much as this, which means that this love that she's looking for, it's putting her through hell. But regardless of that, she's not giving up, because she says,
Streams are tied to a horse that'll never tie.
which in my opinion is a poetic way of saying she's not giving up, okay? She wants her garden in that desert. She wants her rose to grow. She wants her love to grow. She's not tiring out, and she's not settling. Altogether, it's just a sweet and beautiful way to say that she's not giving up on love, even though she's experienced all the tragic things that came with it. That's what make us lover girls really lover girls. Just because you experience a few bad relationships does not mean that you should brush it off and never try to experience it ever again. Find that love within yourself and somebody else, your friends, because you have it to give. So of course somebody else out there has it to give you. I also felt like I heard this song before. I went back through my reactions and I saw that she performed this song on one of the shows that she was on. I was confused. So I looked at the credits and it looks like she doesn't have credits. So I'm wondering what exactly this is about. If you know, let me know in the comments below. Next song is Weirdo. The lyrics are given exactly what the title says. She's talking about holding on to her pillow so it doesn't feel as lonely as she does. And her colors are bright in the mirror, but she's actually see-through when you look at her. I know, this is giving a weird, right? So then she's wondering, you know, how could she ever be loved? She's giving layers on top of layers on top of layers. It was absolutely stunning. I heard this and I was like, oh my gosh, this is enchanting, angelic, and majestic. That really just blew my mind, how she really brought a song out talking about weirdo and still sounding amazing. Then right after that, we have Porcelain, another one that I heard a while back, and I did not know that it was going to be included on this album. I instantly fell in love. The mellow and enchanting vibe that's on here, everything. Then the music video, oh God, everything. She's giving me the vibe that she's not accepting the bare minimum anymore. We got lyrics like,
Take your heart somewhere. I don't want any of it anymore.
all of these are showing her growth, because from the very beginning, she was talking about how she loved this man. She was willing to go to war for him, watch the whole world burn down just to see him. It may have taken her a little while to discover this, but now she realized how fragile she is and how she can't really be put back together after this man has broken her down to pieces, kind of like a porcelain doll. Which brings us to the music video where she actually looks like a doll. Her makeup is done to look just like a doll. She's wearing a dress that looks like what a doll would wear. Even the way that she interacts with the camera, she also has a doll with her just to bring everything together. We have plenty of lyrics to show how harsh this man has been with her.
And your blade is sharp, cold to me.
All of these show how difficult this relationship has been. I honestly love this song so much. The melodies in here were a little bit slower. She was harmonizing, sounding beautiful to represent how there is so much beauty within her as a doll. This was one of the greatest songs on the album. Then we have the next song, Ornament. A much chiller vibe. I can't help but to think that she was talking about this person who she was in a relationship with and how empty their heart was, just like an ornament. We use them to decorate, but on the inside, they have absolutely nothing. She was using this to not only diss this man, but also to let him know how he doesn't really have much beyond the surface. Not in his heart, not in his soul, just very empty. She continues to talk about how she was affected by this man and how she has the scars to prove it, so he was never innocent. This is ultimately just acceptance. As you go through a relationship that didn't work out, at some point you just really have to accept the fact that it didn't work out and you have to move on. That's when you really become free. This was a great message to the girlies out here who are really accepting the bare minimum. If they're showing you that they're empty on the inside, accept that for what it is, as opposed to you wanting them to grow or be better or accepting their potential. You accept them for what they are in the moment. If it is an ornament, honey, that means you need to skedaddle. And at some point, they're gonna become a pretty stranger, which is the last song on the album. I thought this was a great way to wrap up everything. Usually, when a relationship ends, you guys just become strangers. This song seemed like it was written after Faouzia had an encounter with the person, and she seemed like she was battling with the idea of whether she was okay or not after that relationship.
Am I happy? I'm not sure.
Especially after seeing that person, you can experience all types of emotions after you see somebody for the first time. After y'all broke up, you may want to rekindle things, you may want to become friends or whatever. All of these emotions kind of come and rush in at the same time, so you're sitting here like, oh my gosh, what happened within that relationship? Why did we ever break up? But ultimately she decides that she's okay with dying alone. But she says,
Even if I'll never be the same.
this stood out to me because it's super important to note that every single relationship that you have will affect you, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. It is your choice to deal with all of these emotions, all of the trauma, so that you can move forward and be better for yourself and other people that you encounter in the future. Overall, I thought this was the perfect way to wrap everything up and finish telling the story about a relationship that started off really strong, then a heartbreak happens and you're dealing with all of these emotions, wanting to do all of these things for this human being that honestly is not treating you the best, but you're still willing to give your all to. Throughout that journey, you're discovering yourself and you're discovering that you deserve more. This was definitely for the lover girls out there to tell a story, a beautiful story about a rational, detrimental, and unhealthy type of love that can lead to self-discovery and acceptance. I absolutely loved it. Every single track has its own story to tell. She uses her voice beautifully throughout the album. The beats are all captivating, and I love the fact that she used other languages, from French to whatever other language that she was speaking on here. And then we have the album cover, so beautiful, with her having that look that I feel like is exactly for a French type of vibe. The haircut, the black and white, the unique of the little outfit that she's wearing. I also noticed that there's an apple on the cover. I'm wondering, what exactly does that represent? If you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments below. I'm thinking maybe forbidden love, forbidden fruit type of thing, where she bit into the apple and this was rotten to the core, representing that man. Let me know your favorite songs. I have quite a few favorites. I will be replaying this album over and over and over again until the lyrics wear me down. Let me know if you like this type of vibe for an album as opposed to an album reaction, because I don't know if this is gonna happen again. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye.
Watch the world burn.